Hey guys, welcome to Game Bet. Today bringing you a video for Battlefield 2042, and today we're going over the role that specialists play in the game, the specialists that we know so far and the ones that were spotted in the trailer, and how they fit into the class system that we're used to in previous Battlefield games. So, jumping right into it, you'll see the trailer going on in the background where we can actually spot a lot of the currently known specialists that we know about, as well as some additional ones that I'm sure we'll have confirmation on here either Sunday or in the coming weeks or months. Now, currently we know about 4 specialists, and there will be 6 more to be revealed before launch. So we'll launch with 10 total specialists, and then an additional 4 will come out within the first year of the live service. 1 specialist per season, and each season lasts about 3 months. So about the same as what we've seen with Modern Warfare and Cold War on the Call of Duty series. So getting into specialists first, we're going to go over what we know about them, who the specialists are, and then later in the video we'll go in kind of the role that I think specialists are supposed to be playing to replace the class system. So jumping first off into the specialists that we know about, we have the first soldier here is Webster Mackay. So he has special abilities, and each specialist will have a unique ability or a speciality and 1 trait to them. So that's all. Other than that, you can pick any weapon. You're not locked into a weapon per the class that they may fall into, so you can run any gun you want. With the specialist, they'll just have 1 speciality and 1 trait that's unique to that specialist. So if we look at the specialist, Webster Mackay, his speciality and traits are going to be the grappling hook, and then his trait will be nimble. So nimble means that he's going to be faster moving when ADSing, and just overall movement speed will be a little bit quicker, but mainly when ADSing or aiming down sight. Now, the grappling hook will work like grappling hooks that we've seen in other games. I'm going to use Blackout or Black Ops 4 as an example, because it will work somewhat like that as far as how it operates, where you'll shoot it, it'll lock on, the rope will retract, and then pull the operator towards the object that you had grappled onto. However, I expect there will be some limitations with this. You obviously won't be able to grapple very long distances. I'm sure there's going to be a cap on the distance, and obviously the speed that you go and launching out of that, you won't be able to fly around like you would in a typical Call of Duty game. I'm assuming there will be definitely balance with that, which will be good. So Webster, I believe, is a Canadian national as his profile, and he looks like your typical assault soldier. And in his profile that they list on the Battlefield website, it kind of mentions that he kind of falls into that assault type class system that we're used to in the past. And you can see each specialist will have different operator skins too, which we'll get into. Now, the next operator we know about is Maria Falck, and Maria Falck has her speciality and her trait. Her speciality being the Syringe pistol, or the syringe pistol is what I'm going to call it, because I'm used to something like that from Bad Company series. So that'll basically inject health when shot into a friendly teammate, and it will inflict damage when shot at enemies. Now, she also has her trait being the combat surgeon, so essentially she falls into the medic type role here. The combat surgeon will revive any downed teammates to full health. So it sounds like we have a typical assault soldier or class with Webster Mackay, and then a combat medic with Maria. So now moving on, we have Boris. Now, Boris is our first Russian specialist that we can see here in game, and his speciality and traits are going to be the SG-36 sentry gun. So he can set up this sentry gun, which will auto-detect and engage the enemies. And also, when he's around sentry guns, he has his trait being sentry operator for better performance with the sentry gun, so they will lock onto enemies quicker and perform better overall. It won't inflict more damage, but it will help their performance when he's around them. So he seems to be something like an engineer or an or I would say even maybe a support soldier of some kind when we look at what his specialities are. Next up for Recon, we have Wikis Casper. So Casper is what we'll call him. He seems to fall into that Recon type class. He has a modified ghillie suit, so he has that typical type sniper Recon class system that we're used to in the Battlefield. In the Recon, he has the Recon drone, so that'll spot moving targets. Now, we've seen this before in pretty much almost every Battlefield game from Battlefield Bad Company series forward. So he has the Recon drone to spot moving targets. It can also induce an EMP blast within a surrounding area, as well as target designator, so you can target vehicles with it. So lock on vehicles as well as lock on rockets would be able to lock to that laser designator and lock onto the vehicle. So technically he could lock onto a helicopter, for example, and if you're flying a helicopter with heat seekers, or you maybe have a javelin, you can lock directly to that vehicle is what it sounds like. And again, we've seen this in almost every Battlefield game, so this isn't anything out of the ordinary. He also has a motion sensor, which again making an appearance again from previous Battlefield games. And again, we've seen this for the Recon class itself, and that will detect nearby moving enemies, however, and vehicles, but it will not detect slow-moving targets from what I hear. Watching Jack Fragg's video, he went into some of this additional things that the content creators were given additional information on. So it will not detect slow-moving enemies. So you can still technically creep up on somebody that's camping, and the motion sensor won't pick them up. So if we look at Battlefield 4, for example, snipers camping up high, maybe have spawn beacons and motion sensors, you would always get picked up on that, but now you can sneak up, and that offers a nice balance to the game. Now, some of the other operators or specialists that I saw throughout the trailer, just by going through it, I think the first and most obvious specialist would be Esponoza. So Esponoza, you can see him on the Manifest map, and he appears to be a support gunner. He has very heavy armor. Both times we see him, his armor is reminiscent of almost an advanced IOTV type body armor, which is a full body armor, as well as a combination with the IOTV and maybe even what we would see the bomb suits that we have seen in the past. They haven't been in Battlefield games, but they have been in Call of Duty games, similar to like a Juggernaut is the type of armor I'm talking about here. So he looks like he has a bomb suit on with a combination of an IOTV full body armor suit. He appears to be a support gunner, and the next time we see him is on the map Kaleidoscope, right as the Hurricane's hidden, and again there he has a completely different cosmetic appearance, and he's holding a machine gun, so it would appear that he would fall into that support gunner or support class because he has a machine gun and heavy body armor, which is historically in Battlefield has been what support gunners use or how they appear in the game. Next up, the operator or specialist that I spotted was somebody that I'm just going to call the thermal operator. So this is again on the Manifest map. We get a brief shot of him here as well as on Kaleidoscope, and I'm calling him the thermal operator just because he has some sort of futuristic type nods around him, and this kind of reminds me of what we were just made privy to or made aware of within the past year is the advanced night vision or thermal optics systems that's being used by the military. It's in testing now, so it stand to reason that 20 years from now that would almost be a standard issue for some soldiers. So I'm calling him the thermal operator. He appears to have these advanced thermal optics and night vision on, and he appears to be wearing them at all times. So I'm assuming his speciality and trait will evolve around that, being the thermal optics for an enhanced HUD and enhanced visibility in certain situations to track enemy targets. Next up, we have another operator here again on the map Manifest, and I'm not sure where this guy would fall. I'm going to call him a medic slash assault slash special ops operator, and he's this guy that we see again in the Manifest map when they're stacked up and about to go through the shipping crates, and he's got the AK-12, and also you can see he's got the visor which is flipped up as well there. So he's very tactical looking when we see him. He's got a yellow armband on his bicep, he's got an AK-12, he's got his visor flipped up, and he has a backpack, a fatigue backpack, and what looks like blue rope or bungee cord on his, or paracord on his backpack there as well. So really nice tactical looking operator again. Not sure where he would fall, but he appears to be maybe a medic slash special ops mix. Next up on the map Kaleidoscope, I did spot a few operators here, that being what I'm going to call just a recon operator. This could be, or this guy has the LWRC SMG 45, so I'm going to call him Recon just because it looks like he's carrying some sort of spawn beacon or maybe even a portable trophy system of some sort. And you can see on his backpack for some of these shots he has the N for no pats, so that means he's the non-patrioted and probably working as a PMC essentially is the storyline there. So I'm going to call him a Recon operator with a spawn beacon or maybe a trophy system. And again, he looks very tactical and really nice looking as well. And then also we have the wingsuit operator. So we've seen this wingsuit operator a few times in the trailer, heavily featured, and has the mask with the visor with what looks like the internal HUD inside of the visor that's displaying. You can see that in a few shots in the gameplay, and obviously the speciality there would be that they have a wingsuit instead of a parachute, it would appear. So pretty cool looking there, and I'm assuming because of the way the operator is geared up that they would be moving much faster probably than some of the other operators, just not as heavy with the body armor and things like that, so it would stand to reason that their ergonomics would be much better and they could move faster. Next up again on the map, Kaleidoscope. Kaleidoscope seems to be where we see almost all of these operators as far as specialists go. We see a lot of them here on this map, so on the map Kaleidoscope, the next one that we see here is going to be, I'm just going to call this one Other DMR Operator or Specialist, or maybe it's another skin for Casper. I can't really tell. We get a couple shots of this operator just using what looks like a designated marksman rifle, and again, this could be a cosmetic change for the Specialist Casper that we had already seen in the gameplay previously, and we have some shots of him here on the map Kaleidoscope as well. We also have another operator that we see very briefly in the background here as the Hurricane's coming in. I'm just going to call him the Delta operator. He could very well be Webster Mackay with a different skin on or outfit, but he doesn't have a helmet, and he just kind of has that Delta-esque look to him. A little bit laid back of an operator looking, but you can tell he kind of looks like a badass Delta operator from what we can see. But this could be an alternative skin for Webster Mackay as well. Seems to fit that Assault type role. And then we have one other female operator that we can see as the Hurricane's hit, and we see her a few times here in the Kaleidoscope scenes. And again, she's a female operator. This could, in fact, be another skin for Maria Falck. Now, speaking of other skins or outfits, we see a lot of these operators repeated throughout the trailer that are one of these 4 operators or operators that we just discussed with different outfits on. So, for example, Maria Falck, we see her here on the Battlefield website. However, we do see her appear on some of the maps in the gameplay as well, utilizing different outfits. So the one that we see her on mainly here is that Little Bird scene in the map Hourglass, where the Little Bird's coming up to the rooftop. We see a brief couple shots of her with a completely different outfit on. She has the helmet, and you can see that syringe pistol in her tactical rig there on her plate carrier on her chest. So you can tell that's obviously her, and she also has the medic symbol on her backpack and some of the shots that you can see throughout the trailer. So you have operators with different outfits and skins, meaning they're going to be highly customizable, which I think we can tell by watching the trailer. That goes for Esponoza as well. We see him in 2 completely different operator skins. So there will be some sort of customization, so you just don't have the same type of specialist running around the map on both sides. I think there may be a default depending on what side you're on or you're fighting for, whether it's US or Russia, and then I'm sure you'll be able to customize it as well. Now, with the Specialist, really quick, just calling back to Battlefield 2 class systems, way back in Battlefield 2, because there's no classes in this game, we do see the Battlefield 2 class systems, I think, are a good reference here, because it seems like to me the Specialists are trying to tailor to the class systems without being a designated class system, so you're not locked into the specific weapons. However, you still have the traits that would be associated with the class system. For example, engineers would have rocket launchers and would be kind of a combination of engineer and anti-tank. Assault would be a combination of assault and medic, and we seem to see operators that are fitting into that different class system while having the variety to have the kind of weapons that need to fight the battles that need to fight because the maps are so large. So for example, if we look at Boris, he seems to be, or even Esponoza, they seem to be almost support type classes. However, you can equip any weapon and they can still fill that support role with the gadgets and traits and specialities that they have. So it seems like there's still classes in the game, although they're not calling them classes. They're just making specialists with these abilities that still fill the role of the class system without being locked into the class system. And I'm going to use Battlefield 2's class system as an example here. Battlefield 2, I believe, had the most classes of any Battlefield game that I can recall. And in that game, you had the Assault class, Medic, Anti-Tank, Engineer, Support, Special Forces, and Sniper. And then in later iterations of the Battlefield series, they started combining some of those. We had Assault combined with Medic. We had Engineer combined with Anti-Tank, and Special Forces kind of made into the mix with Assault and Engineer, depending on what kind of weapons you wanted to carry. So they reduced those, and it seems like here they're trying to make, with the Specialist system, they're trying to accommodate almost all of the Battlefield 2 class systems without locking you into place. So you have operators that it seems like you can still fill into that class system, being Battlefield 2 being the best example, from Assault, Medic, Anti-Tank, Engineer, Support, Special Forces, and Sniper, without being locked to the specific weapons that came along with those classes. So you can be more versatile on the battlefield and play really the way you want to play while still filling the role that the class system was designated for in the beginning of the whole Battlefield series and throughout the Battlefield life cycle. So Battlefield 2042, the Specialist, I think this is a really good thing for the series. I like this a lot. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this plays out, how customizable they are, as well as the different specialists and what else other abilities and special traits they have. Let me know down below what you guys think. Are you a big fan of specialists? Are you going to be missing the class system? Do you wish they brought back the class system? Personally, I think this specialist idea is a pretty good one, but again, we'll have to see how it plays out in real time. But I think this is probably a good thing for the series moving forward, especially given the scale of the maps and the player count. I think it's important to allow the players to be a little bit more versatile to fill multiple roles. So let me know down below what you guys think. This is Buckner Gaming with the Battlefield 2042 Specialist. Until next time, Buckner Gaming, out.